This is a 2009 iMac that I found on Curbside Cleanup. When I found it, it was still logged in as the previous user, and after wiping the computer, I had to install a new operating system on it. This would turn out to be very difficult. After many attempts, I managed to finally install a new operating system via a bootable USB installer. Everything seems to be working, but the fan is spinning at a full speed constantly, and looking at its temperature, it's running idle at 59 degrees Celsius. It's not too bad, but it definitely could be better. So in this video, I'm going to be replacing the thermal paste and cleaning out the fans and vents. The 2009 iMacs are the last iMacs that have magnets holding in the screen rather than glue. In the newer models, glue holds it in and it's extremely difficult to take it off. Once you've got everything undone, you just need to push it up and take it out. Next thing to do is undo all the screws. Once you've taken all the screws out, you can push the Mac into the upright position and slowly tilt the screen forwards, making sure to catch the screen. You have to unplug the cables that connect to the screen, being careful not to rip them off. After you've done that, you can just lift the screen out. I find it very entertaining that the last owner has, instead of buying the correct bracket for the SSD, just taped it in instead. If it looks stupid but it works, then it's not stupid. First thing I'm doing is removing the SSD. Next I'm going to take the power supply out and I'm going to glove up to make sure that I'm insulated because I'm working with 240 volts. After unscrewing the danger box and unplugging all the cables, you can freely take it out. Next thing to go is the IR sensor that hides behind the Apple logo. Now taking out all the RAM. This was quite difficult as it's been sitting there for a while and I had to use a lot of force to take them out. That's two. Now what's next to do is to undo all the cables that run into the motherboard. These consist of the fans and the sensors and a couple of other cables. I'm taping them together to make it easier to put the motherboard back in without trapping anything behind it. Now it's time to unscrew the motherboard. I missed this screw that's on the bracket at first. It's indicated with a triangle and you need to take that out as well. Now everything's unscrewed, all you need to do is lift out the motherboard. You need to unplug the cables that run into the back of the motherboard, being careful not to break them. I found the easiest way to unplug them is if I put my head right here. I need a haircut. Once you've unplugged everything, it can just lift out. Now I'm going around taking the fans out to clean them and then putting them back in. Let's work on this motherboard. Gonna give it all a nice clean. I'm going to replace the CPU's thermal paste first. You need to unscrew everything.
Whoops.
Unplug the CPU sensor. And just lift the heatsink off the CPU. That's some crusty thermal paste. Going to wipe it off. And replace it with new thermal paste. Now just place the heatsink back on the CPU. And screw everything back together. You need to plug the sensor back in, and now we're going to move on to the GPU. To take the GPU off, you need to unscrew the 3 screws that connect the bracket to the motherboard, and unplug the sensor. Now to take the motherboard off, you just need to lift up and pull out. To take off the heatsink, you need to unscrew the bracket, and it should just pop off. Now I have access to the front and back of the GPU. We're going to unscrew the bracket. Now you can pull away the GPU from the heatsink. It's time to wipe all the old thermal paste off. And apply new thermal paste. Now you can remount the heatsink to the GPU. We are now done for taking apart and reapplying. Now we just need to put everything back together how it was. Instead of doing a voiceover, I'm just going to let you watch the time lapse. I brought it into the other room and put the RAM back in. Let's see if it turns on. Yes! Sorry, the fan was spinning up and then it just stopped. I don't know if you heard my sigh, but I was like, here are the problems. We're not out of the woods yet, but let's see. And with that, another piece of technology that would have been thrown out has been saved. I'm much happier with its temps. It's now idling at around 49 degrees Celsius. Even though it's an iMac from 2009, it still runs quite well. I just wish Apple brought this level of repairability into their new iMacs. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to like, and if you really liked it, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.